Hi, I'm with Baasit today from Siddiqui Education. Do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself, Baasit?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the director of Siddiqui Education. It's an educational business, and I go into schools and deliver workshops for disadvantaged students.
Okay.
The main one I'm delivering at the moment is called Let's Pitch It. And Let's Pitch It is a workshop for Year 8 and Year 9 pupil premium students, so disadvantaged students. And they get together in groups of 4 and they pitch an idea for a TV show.
Nice.
And it uses a lot of transferable skills, so teamwork, collaborative skills, analysis skills, research skills. And basically, the students are in competition with themselves and with other schools as well, because basically each school will shortlist their best TV idea. The best idea from each school is sent to me, and I shortlist it into the top 3 best ones, and I send them over to the creator of Gogglebox, Tanya Alexander, and she judges the best one.
Okay.
The best one then wins funding for their school, some vouchers for the kids, and then a trip to London to see the show being edited as well.
In terms of how you work with the university, that would be a good starting point, I guess. And also a little bit about your career, history so far.
After leaving university, I did a degree in IT, and I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do. I knew that when I was growing up, IT was the buzzword.
Okay.
So it was kind of like the thing that everyone knew. You kind of had to be involved in it in some way, shape or form, and I knew from a very early age the fact sitting in front of a computer was quite good. I kind of enjoyed that. When I left university, I did a couple of jobs, just agency work, and ended up working for the city hospital as an information analyst. So what that basically is you look at data and look at the type of procedures that were being done in the hospital. I personally enjoyed it. But at the same time, you're in a hospital, you're with people who are saving people's lives, and you're the data guy in the background. So I didn't feel like I was really fulfilling my real purpose in life. And then when I was in the department that I was in for a while, I can't remember the name of it now, but I knew that it was information analysis. 2 kids came in for work experience, so you're talking about 15, 16-year-olds, and I was fairly new to it. Well, not necessarily new, but I was quite young. So they just kind of tagged on to me, and they said that, oh, can you look after these two lads? And I said, yeah, sure, that's fine. So anyway, within that week, I was showing them everything that I was doing it, and I was explaining it, and I was really enjoying the whole how interested they were in what I was doing and the way I was talking to them. I feel that I must have had some sort of like skill at talking to young kids. I thought I kind of want to be doing something where you're helping people. I then decided to do PGC and became a secondary school IT teacher, and did that for 10 years. Basically, when you're a trainee teacher, you go to 2 schools, 2 placement schools. So I was lucky enough to make a good impression in my first school where they hired me straight away. And then within 2 years, I went to my second school as a second in department. I ended up staying in that school for 8 years, became head of department. Within that time, the whole Gogglebox thing came as well. It got me thinking, I've got this interesting hook, and I've got all this experience in teaching. How can I combine the 2 together? So this January gone, so January 2018, I've taken the leap and become self-employed, and with the role of going into schools and delivering educational workshops, mainly focusing on disadvantaged students throughout the country, and it's going really well. I'm networking with a lot of different people and within the education sector. That's where I met Bev from the university. And it's really early days, but I've had a number of conversations with Bev to do some lectures, some keynote lectures for new students, which should be pretty exciting. I think a lot of employees are impressed by the fact that you have had enough about you to actually go into university. Employers know that you're going to be developing certain skills throughout that time. So you're going to be developing your time management, your research skills, your analytical skills, your debate skills, the way that you just communicate and network with people. There's skills that every single course will have elements of, but then you transfer them into whatever you're specifically doing. I think if you ask 9 out of 10 people with regards to what they did at university and how it impacts their day-to-day life, it'd be more of those transferable skills, more of those fundamental skills.
So how did you then, throughout your career, make the choices of what to study? Did you started to study IT to begin with?
Yeah, so I did. I'd say it was
what else did you do?
I'd say it was my GCSEs, where I was noticing that IT was definitely becoming a bigger thing. And I had a really good IT teacher as well, and I think that really helped us. I wasn't too sure what aspect of IT I was particularly interested in. The course that I did at Derby Uni, it was Business and Information Systems.
Okay.
So, and in the first year, you can really test the waters and see which areas that you prefer. So there was the practical side, so there was the programming elements, there was the graphical design, there was the video editing, there was the 3D animation. For your second year, if you wanted to, you start going into a more advanced feeling. And then there was the programming aspect of it. The bit that I really enjoyed, though, were the use of IT in the real world. I remember there was a course called Medical Informatics, which is basically how systems are used and what could happen if a system isn't designed correctly. Coupled with that was systems analysis, which was looking at if you were going to go into the process of creating a system, what different planning methodologies could you use? And I always found that really interesting, because there's this idea that programmers aren't exactly the best people. They like to do their programming. So systems analysts or business analysts work in between. They're the people who have the subject knowledge to know what's happening with the computer, but also have the business acumen and the people skills to communicate, so they're a good go-between. And I found that aspect of my course in developing my people skills has translated really well into the education side.
How did you then apply that into when you first left university and went into work?
I would say, because I wasn't too sure on what I was going to do next, I just split it in between different IT roles and IT jobs, and just thought, okay, I'll try a bit of web development, I'll try a bit of programming, I'll try this, I'll try that. And then I just ended up staying for the majority for the 2 years. I think it was mostly I stayed in the hospital because my family have some links to the hospital in some way. Dad's always worked for them, and my brother was a microbiologist there as well. So I always liked the idea of working in the hospital. I was quite picky with what I wanted to go into. So if there was something that didn't have a strong link to IT, I would have most likely have said no to that, because of the fact that I did want to hone my skills and I wanted to really test the waters and see if there was something out there for me. I got my BSc in Business and Information Technology, and then I'd say it's about 3 years, and then I did the PGC.
Before you knew that you had that desire to move into that education field, did you think you were going to progress to postgraduate in your IT studies?
It wasn't something that I had in mind, because of the fact that IT and the very nature of it is very practical, it's very hands-on. It's interesting enough now, I would say that if I was going to do anything in the future in terms of a master's, I'd look at more the education side, because the theory behind child psychology and educational psychology is massive, and there's so many papers and so much research that's being done out there. You pick a lot of it up through blogs and just through your general experience in the teaching profession. But it'd be great to have a title next to my name to say that, okay, you are one of the experienced people in this now.
Do you think the value comes from in the moment experience through networking and getting involved in opportunities?
I would say so, definitely, because you kind of have to live it to some degree and put it into context. Kids are very astute like that. They'll say, okay, this is great what we're doing right now in the lesson, but what's the point? They always feel like they want a point to it. If you're networking and gaining some of those experiences already, then you've got your why there and then. And then it's a case of just going back a step and just looking at it in a bit more depth, and that's where the postgrad will come into it.
So how do you approach networking, and how do you hunt out opportunities?
I've kind of done it the other way around, where I'm in a position now where I'm networking and I'm not too sure what the future holds, which is quite interesting, where my career originally was kind of like, it was quite a safe, secure job in teaching. So I'd been umming and ahhing about the fact that I wanted to try something a little bit different. And I just reached a point where I thought, you know what, either do it now or you're never going to do it, and just take the plunge. And it's quite a liberating feeling, it's quite nice. What I found is that when you do start networking, a lot of people are in the same boat.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there who are keen to network, who have a lot of empathy for people who are getting into the networking game straight away. I've found in all of those networking events that people are really approachable and really nice. I think that's where my ears pricked up with Derby Uni, because I noticed quite a lot of Derby Uni students at these networking events, and you could tell they were nervous, and you could tell that they were a little bit apprehensive about going. But by the end of the night, they were talking to everyone, especially when you're at a place in your life, i.e. university, where people aren't expecting you to be a social butterfly. They're going to be quite flattered that you're asking them any kind of question, just milling around and networking. The icing on the cake for me was I saw someone in his third year. He was at that University of Derby event, and he got up and did a quick presentation. And it was completely ad hoc. He was kind of at the back of the room. I think he was drinking a tea, so you could tell he wasn't expecting it, but he just came up, and that level of confidence that he showed, I'm assuming he's got that from networking and his confidence and his skills and that. So.
In the networking events that you've been to, do you go into networking events with this is what I want to get out of it, or do you just go in and meet people, chat to them on a personal level, kind of make friends, don't see it as like business career opportunities?
I would personally say that if you're going to put someone's back up, if that's what you go in straight away, solely throwing out business cards like some kind of thing or something like that, just try and avoid that. Strike up a friendship. I mean, you'll know very quickly if you click with someone. And if you've got a rapport with someone, they'll get your sense of humour.
And you just stay in touch.
And you stay in touch, exactly. You go for a coffee, and then it's almost like you'll get two contrasting businesses who you wouldn't even think have anything in common. But after having a couple of conversations, striking up a friendship, you'll find some way to mutually help each other out, which I think is fascinating. I think it's really interesting, the whole.
And it's great when you meet people and then you get that connection and you're like, oh, me too, and that very, very often happens, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And there'll always be either location links, or you've studied the same thing, or just a personal interest.
Absolutely. I think that you will build a rapport with someone for whatever reason, but once you've got that, you kind of have a measure of someone and think, okay, I could do business with this person.
And when you realise that you can progress that relationship and it can steer down the career opportunity, do you approach it in a different way, or do you just continue talking to them quite informally?
For me personally, it's a case of striking up the friendship first, and then you've got to reach a point where you are going to discuss business as well, but still do it in a informal environment.
And how do you use social media? Like, how do you get the best out of social media and use that?
I was using social media very differently when I was just that chap from Gogglebox. I was tweeting about like family life, friends, that kind of stuff, which is great. At the same time, I wanted to have a professional edge to me as well, so I set up my own Siddiqui Education Twitter as well, and only post formal things on there. What I found is quite interesting, and this applies more on LinkedIn, and I'd strongly suggest that students, university students, start getting their name out there on LinkedIn as well. It gives you an idea of who's out there on LinkedIn, what kind of careers are out there. And I just thought it's quite a nice way for someone who isn't too sure what they want to do career-wise, looking at different jobs that are out there. Also, you start building connections straight away, and if you then post what your next paper is about, or what you did at university, or what grade you got in a certain thing, you are selling yourself and promoting yourself, and it's absolutely free. So I think that the power of LinkedIn is really good. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they're great, but at the same time they definitely have less of a professional feel to them.
It's choosing the right channel to put in your personal life for your career.
Exactly. I really want this career this Siddiqui Education to succeed, not just because of my profile. So that's why LinkedIn was me starting from scratch and slowly building myself up on it, which is quite nice. So I'm being judged on my merit. Every time I post that I've been to a school, or had a successful campaign within a school, or done a successful lecture, or written an article or something like that. It's all based on everything that I've done through the business.
You're really building up your next steps in your career on a completely fresh start, aren't you?
Definitely. I think it's fascinating, the world that we live in now, and how many career opportunities are out there. And it's very rare now where you'd expect someone to pigeonhole themselves into one career for the rest of their lives. Almost embrace the fact that you don't know what to do, because the whole world quite literally is your oyster. Be sensible with how you sell yourself and promote yourself on social media as well. One little slip up on what you've done in your past could come and bite you back later on.
Any fears that you had along the way, like how did you approach them? Obviously there's times of nerves and things that you get into. Did you have a particular approach? Did you just throw yourself in, or were there times when you declined things because you was too nervous, or like how do you approach that side of things?
I've always been a plodder. I'll just go and see what's out there, and I did my job as an information analyst, and then the whole teaching aspect of it kind of sort of fell into my lap, in the sense that there was a sign there to try something different. My girlfriend was doing a PGCE, so there weren't any nerves with regards to that. It was kind of like it felt right, and it's just I kind of threw myself into it and just thought, okay, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing right now. The way that I got my teaching jobs was through not necessarily what I know. Well, obviously it was what I know, but at the same time it was who I knew as well, because of the fact that it was my first school that I did my placement in and my second one. If I hadn't have made a first good impression, then I probably wouldn't have got myself where I was. I would say that the fears and nerves are, the biggest one was definitely this whole thing that I decided to do and take a leap of faith with this being self-employed. And obviously, the teaching industry is not always easy and stuff, but it was always measurable as well. You knew where your peaks and troughs were and where all the tough times were and everything. So it was definitely a leap of faith. And that's coming from someone who's got a wife and a kid to support as well. But I thought, I just was very much of the mindset that this Gogglebox thing isn't going to last forever. I have got a genuine skill that I've built up, skill and experience for the last 10 years, that I'm still hugely passionate about educating and inspiring young people.
And have you got anything in the pipeline for your career that's like a big aspiration that you want to get into?
I would say that I'm taking each day as it comes. When I left the teaching industry, the plan was to just, as long as I'm making financially what I was as a teacher, but obviously the world of business is huge, and you really open your eyes to what all the different opportunities are out there. As long as I feel that's something that I can be involved in, never say never to anything. So I'm firmly focused on the workshops that I'm delivering and creating at the moment, because that's a passion project. It's something that I've created myself, and I love the fact that I'm going out there, I've created this workshop, and there are schools that are buying that workshop now and really excited about their kids doing it. People are tweeting about it and saying that, wow, this workshop's really good. It's a really nice sense of accomplishment. But as that's grown, I've been approached by other businesses and wanting to do little bits and pieces with them. And I'm of the mindset that first and foremost, I want to focus on my workshop. Like, make sure you don't say yes to everything. You don't want to be stretching yourself too much. But you wear so many different hats, and I think this is the case with any career that you end up in. You end up not just doing one thing 9 till 5. You have to do so many different things. You have to be a people person. You have to be a writer. You have to be an analyst, because you're looking at all your spreadsheets. There's so many little things that you're doing without even knowing that you're doing them. I think that everyone's got a certain amount of skill sets that they just bring to the front when they need them, when they try something like this.
It can be quite easy to go, and it's very exciting to take on lots of different things, or extra work and placements and this, that and the other, and you can lose touch with everything that's going on, trying to juggle everything or not make the best of each opportunity as well.
You've got to remember why, if we look at it from the student aspect, why you're there in the first place.
What's my overall passion?
You've chosen this subject for a reason, and you want to leave knowing that you gave it your all and got the grade that you deserved. First and foremost, the whole world is your oyster. Just gain the skills, get the skills as best as you can do, and then we'll see what happens next. But also, don't be afraid to talk to people. There are staff here that are wanting to help kids, and that can mean help them academically, it can mean help them personally, or help them business-wise as well.
Can you share your best advice, or a phrase, or just something that kind of keeps you grounded and keeps you focused?
One thing I've learned since starting this is give is gain. You don't go in straight away and try and sell your wares. you're trying to support someone and help them out first.
Yeah.
And that builds up a rapport, builds up a trust, builds up a friendship.
Yeah, I like that.
And from that, you'll have that person for life then, because of the fact that you took the time to just say, okay, what's the problem? I can help with that straight away. Don't take for granted all of the little skills that you have, because something to you that might seem really mundane, some of the people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you just did that.
Yeah.
So really think long and hard about all those little skills that you have. I'm passionate about the education industry. I'm passionate about working and trying to support and inspire students.
Yeah.
As long as you're grounded in your core values and stick to that, people will respect you for it.
Yeah.
And you'll feel better about it yourself as well.
And it's okay to reassess them core values as well, isn't it? To actually sit down and kind of write down what your goals are for a period of time and then come back and reassess them.
It's all well and good living for the moment and everything, but it never hurts to have a plan.
Yeah.
But as you said, the plan can change.
Yeah. So are you going to be at the university doing any seminars or anything like that? What's your direct plans with?
So the plan is I will be in the university on the 21st of September. I'm the keynote speaker for the new year ones. What do you call them? The new, I call them freshers, but you don't call them freshers, do you? First years, that's it, first years. Yes, I'll be doing the keynote lecture for that, so I'm quite excited about that.
Nice.